Let's rock and roll. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Goose Creek Retrievers. I am Jeff Stanfield.
I am the one and only world-famous Andy Shaver, and this is Dog Training with Mr. Matt Peel on his way to a hunt test right now, and he's taking time. I hope you're being safe on the road.
Man, hands-free, all that good stuff.
I can tell. I was a little worried that you weren't going to be able to do this, but you say you can talk dog training with your hands tied behind your back, driving, yellow lab over your right shoulder. It does not matter. You're good to go.
That's right. Been on the phone with clients all morning talking to them about their dogs on the way down here. We're good.
Who's the guy you got riding behind you?
Oh, that's Boomer. He's my dog.
What's his? Does he go into these hunt tests also?
Yeah, he's a hunt retriever champion, master hunter, and he jammed a field trial this past weekend.
Jammed?
And then he just coughed on my neck.
Jammed is like a
shit the bed?
No, it's good. It's like you're not first, second, or third. Do they go all the way to fourth in field trials?
Got called through all the series and did good enough to finish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, in theory, I guess you call it fifth place.
Yeah, it's not a participation. You've done something damn good. A jam is very commendable.
I thought you meant like my Benelli Nova and jam that way.
No. It's there's no shame in getting a jam in a field trial.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate it.
All right, so we left off. We've got the new puppy. Now it is time to introduce this new puppy to the training world. What are some of the things that we need to do?
So I start my puppies introduced in treat training, and we just learn to sit, learn how to put your butt on the ground for a piece of treat, a piece of their food, and all I do to do that is kind of just hold it over them until they like kind of rear back and their butt hits the ground. Say the word sit. It's super simple, and I like learn it in like 15 minutes. Super easy. Go from there and then use the same treats. And I teach a lot of place training because it helps with steadiness later, or especially like if you're hunting a blind. And lower them onto the place really low. You don't want them jumping off anything high with treats. And that's kind of really what I start doing. You can start molding them into like coming to heel with the treats, just kind of spinning them around, walking them. Most people know labs love their food. You can get a little puppy to do quite a bit with just a handful of kibble.
So you start out sit, you hold it over their head, tell them to sit.
Have I lost you guys?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break you up.
I'm in the middle of like East Jesus, Virginia. So
yeah.
But yeah, so just hold it over their head and until they like kind of rear back and like if you kind of push them without pushing them, in other words, like use their natural desire trying to get the food from you, they'll like kind of sit their butt back on the ground. And I always follow up everything with the command again. And good. Good's my, like, you know what, you did good. So if you sit, their little butt will sit down. Good, sit. And give them the treat.
And then, so one thing I didn't do with Lube, I kind of did, but I didn't do, was place training. I think that's important, especially if you're going to have a house dog, because I think they need to know where to go.
Absolutely, man. You can ask Josh. He's at my house all the time. My dogs are all in the house, and they all sit on like veranda beds, and they don't get off until they're told to. And it's just because I started them when they're little, and they just think that that's where they're supposed to be.
So how do you puppies obviously get bored? How do you teach them that this is where you go when you don't come to me until I call for you?
Just through repetition, and keep your training sessions short, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes at the most. Because you don't want them to get bored. You want training to be like the most fun that they could ever have ever in history. And I really like building a lot of drive in puppies. So if I have a drivey puppy that already likes to retrieve, I'll mix in treat training and like the little obedience, hear, sit, everything like that with retrieves, and have a little canvas bumper. Yeah, I got one right here. So like one of these deals. Because canvas will teach a puppy to hold it longer, because their teeth will lock into it a little bit better, and they won't be as apt to drop it. And I'll, get them on place and make them sit there for a second, and then good. And then, okay, throw them the bumper, hey, pup, get them coming back. And then we go right back into treat training, put the bumper away, treat training. It just keeps it exciting for them.
So, okay, now let's go. Okay, so we've kind of got them set. Now let's start talking about throwing bumpers. Do you recommend for the puppy, do you use wings? Is it all canvas bumpers? What do you recommend for this new pup?
Man, when they're little, anything that they'll pick up, like a rolled up sock. I buy white tennis balls. They're really hard to find, but I buy white tennis balls and play with puppies with white, because they can see it very easily. Sorry, Boomer. Just anything that they like to pick up. It doesn't matter really at that point what it is. Just it's the motion, the repetitive motion of you chase it, you like it, you get it, you bring it back to me, you're a good boy.
Right. So anything. It doesn't have to be a bumper, doesn't have to be a wing, just anything that they're comfortable picking up.
Yep.
And then I'd
like to introduce them to birds if you can get your hands on live pigeons. But the live pigeon deal, you can create a monster too. If you show them too many live birds too young, you can make a dog insane.
What do you mean? Like they won't go after a bumper?
Well, I mean, yeah, you can do that, but that's the least of my worries. I can make you pick up a bumper later. It's really, you can just make a dog berserk, like bird crazy. The little dude looking over my shoulder there, until he was like, I don't know, 4 months old, he never saw anything other than a pigeon, really. And he's a little drivey. I'll just say that.
Right.
He's not for the faint of heart.
Right. So should you use a pigeon as like a last resort, maybe?
No, I like to get puppies on pigeons if you can get a hold of them. Like, find like an Amish guy or like a farmer with a barn. You can catch a couple pigeons, or find some guy to buy one from. But just like use it like
right.
salt on your food. Use
Right.
it sparingly.
That makes sense. So what are we doing with this when we're throwing the bumper or the sock or whatever? Is it 4 or 5 times and then the puppy goes up, or what do you like to do?
Man, like 2 or 3 times. Literally just 2 or 3 times, because you don't want to. Again, you want to kind of have an even mix with like your obedience training, treat training, everything like that. But you also don't want them to get bored, because if you do anything too much, it's not fun anymore, right?
Right.
It just becomes work. And when they're little, we want it all to be fun. Every last bit of it needs to be the most fun that they've ever had. So 2 or 3 times, some high drive puppies, 4 or 5, just to, I hate to say just to tire them out, but always quit before they get to that point. That's like where it kind of turns into a balancing act of like, well, he's really high drive, so let's throw him a couple more, but we don't want to throw it for him until he doesn't want to go get it anymore, or he goes to it and just lays down and just screws with it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a balancing act. You'll find out with your dog very quickly like what their threshold for activity is with that, and just kind of stick to that.
So what's the age frame of this? So say you bring a puppy home at 8 weeks, you want to start this relatively quickly, right?
Yeah, I'm of the nature of, I like to build drive. I tell all my puppy buyers and my clients that call me with puppies that are going to send them to me later, I can always put the brakes on your dog. I can make him sit there, but I can never make him want to retrieve any more than he wants to retrieve when you send him to me. So, well, I mean, you can, but you're not working with a lot
Right.
after that. So if you just, if you obedience them to death, then that's what you're going to have. You're going to have a really obedient dog that kind of likes to retrieve. I'm of the nature of, I would rather have a dog that really, really, really likes to retrieve, and then work on obedience after that. Or work on more obedience after that. So again, it goes back to like the balancing act. Dog training it's like a teeter-totter that you're trying to get to sit still in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You put something on one end, and it weighs down on the other. So you lift up on that end, you push down on the other, kind of thing.
So this basic training that we just kind of outlined, the sit, and you don't.
Yep.
So that's 8 weeks to about when? When can we start getting?
It really it really never ends until they're like 6 months old or so. You just, what you're doing, and your times are extending and your distances are extending. And if you have a wife, girlfriend, significant other, it's 2020, so I guess I got to throw that in there. 2021. Get remote mark started. Get somebody to walk out with your mark. Get the dog's attention. Throw the mark for him. You'll learn their abilities will grow with their age. And if you're only doing little puppy stuff, that's all they'll ever do. So if you can start stretching things out and making it, make them sit on place a little bit longer after they're a couple weeks older, a couple weeks into it. Make them sit longer, make them walk at heel longer, make them, sit on place longer, whatever. Make your retrieves longer. Start intro to water. That's an important one. It's warm now. If you got a puppy, disclaimer, if you got a puppy in the wintertime, don't do intro to water unless you're like somewhere tropical.
Mm-hmm.
But like summertime, get them in the water a bunch, much as you can get them in the water. Well, I guess that wouldn't matter to you guys out there. You guys don't hunt water, and if you do, you bitch about it. So.
Yeah, it's way too much work.
Yeah, all my dogs retrievers are primarily in the water, so water's got to be a big deal, and especially if you want to run like hunt tests or trials or something with your dog. Water is always going to be where your dog needs to be. Even if he makes the right decision or the wrong decision, stays in the water a little too long, that's better than getting out early.
Now, is it easy to train them in the water?
I find it's easier with like a high drive dog. I find it's easier to train. They're not running, 100 miles an hour, balls to the wall. And that's just like more like with them being old. But like with puppies, little puppies, if they will swim for me and retrieve in the water, for every bumper they pick up, they might pick up 2 on land for every 8 they pick up in the water. Just because I want them super comfortable in the water.
Right. Okay, last question. Do you teach stay, or is it just sit?
No. Sit means sit.
So no stay.
Sit means sit until I tell you not to be sitting. No stay. I teach weight, and I use that for like doors and my dog box because like the last thing you want is a dog eye level with you jumping out the second you open the door. I had that happen, and that's where weight came from. But all my dogs, like, they wait before they go out the door, and I call them by name, and then they go out the door. All my dogs wait in their kennels, out in the kennel, and they know wait. And I think I use that interchangeably, like different than sit, even because I don't care if you sit. I just don't want you to move. But no, stay is not in my vocabulary. When I go hunting, I tell the dog to sit, and then I shoot ducks. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like stay, that kind of nonsense.
Right. Sit.
It muddies the water for the dog, more or less.
Yeah.
It's 2 commands that mean the same thing.
Right. See, and I've noticed with Lou, like you mentioned opening doors and stuff, stay is just, it's what I said. Like, you could say purple fart waffle, and like that could mean wait or stay or whatever. So stay is the word that I use, but I don't use it with sit. I just mean like, hey, stay right there. Let me open this door so you don't knock my kid over.
Yeah, yep. Don't be an ass and bum rush the door.
Right.
Wait.
Right.
So whatever command you want to use, like, it doesn't matter any command. Sit doesn't have to be sit. You could say, orange. Right. It doesn't matter. It's a noise to the dog associated with the command. Right. That's all these dogs base all of their learning off of, is noise and body language and things like that associated with the command. That's all.
So how would you teach weight? Like, because I mean, that's just kind of something like I say it and like he doesn't move and I don't hit him on the top of the head is basically how I think he learned it.
Honestly, that's what I do. Like little puppies, like when they try to bust out of a crate. Now I don't like hit. When I say I hit them with the door, I don't mean I hit them with the door. Like, don't call PETA.
Right.
But like when they try to push forward, push the door back.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. They try to push forward, push the door back. Wait. And then very quickly, they don't like the door pushed in their face, and then they're like, I should probably just stop doing that. And then they stop, and then you let them out, and that's their reward.
Right.
They wanted to get out. They got out by doing it your way, and then they learn, again, in like 2 or 3 days, I should probably just wait.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. All right, bud, it has been 15 minutes. You're on the road. Best of luck at this hunt test. What is it, Friday, Saturday, or when are you going?
Saturday, Sunday. I'm going down here for a couple days. I'm picking up a client dog. on the way down here, and then I'm going to train with a buddy of mine for 2-3 days. Connor.
It's not that asshole Connor again, is it?
Yeah, it's fucking dickhead Connor. Yeah. So I'm gonna train with him and at his place, and then we're gonna go to the test together on Saturday and Sunday, and then I'm gonna head back to Maryland, I guess, Monday.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, my friend. Be safe on the road.
I know you're killing it right now. You're doing awesome, so keep going, bud.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, bud. Talk to you later.
I'll catch y'all later.
See ya.
All right, bye.
That is dog training with Matt Peel. Keep it basic. You get this 8-month-old puppy from 8 weeks to about 6 months. Just keep it fun, keep it lighthearted, build on everything, extend their range, but, you know, you got plenty of time for
don't make
trigonometry.
Don't make them grow up too fast. Let's go have some lunch, Andy.
Let's do it. Let's get out of
See ya.
here. Bye. Go check out all of our sponsors before I go have my lunch. Check out Goose Creek Retrievers. You can message Matt if you have any further questions on this episode. Check out Bangtail Whiskey, Gundog Outdoors, Dive Bomb Industries, Blind Grass, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, Dirty Duck Coffee, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Duck Club, and Stanfield Hunting Outfitters.